Well, good day, everyone. I'm natural health consultant Gail Dixon McBride, host of Partners in Health and Biz. And I promised you the complete story about the FDA and artificial food dyes. So here it is. In case you haven't heard, on Tuesday, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that the government will phase out all artificial dyes from the food supply by the end of next year, and a swift timeline that could meet resistance from the powerful food industry, I'm sure. Because if you didn't know, many of our foods contain harmful artificial dyes and colorings. And this dye and coloring is in all types of food, in beverages, in children's cereal, in candies, on and on and on. And not only in our children's food, but in our food, adults' food, the food that we buy every day. For companies that are currently using petroleum based red dye, try watermelon juice or beet juice, FDA Commissioner Marty Makary said at a news briefing. For companies currently combining petroleum based yellow chemical and red dyes together, try carrot juice. FDA Commissioner Marty Makary said at a news briefing that the FDA will authorize four new food dyes it says are derived from natural sources in the coming weeks. And the FDA has approved 36 food dyes, nine of which, as I said earlier, are artificial and made from petroleum. That's right, the same petroleum that goes into your gas tank. The others are derived from natural sources like vegetables. But if you look at your food, if you read the ingredients, if you look and see what your foods are colored with, what your children's foods are colored with, then most likely they have those dyes that I spoke about in another podcast. And you can go back and listen to that podcast. Among the nine artificial dyes is red dye number 3, which gives food and drinks a cherry color and was banned in January over concerns about possible cancer risk. The FDA is beginning a process to revoke the approval of two of the artificial dyes, citrus red number 2 and orange B, within the coming months. The Department of Health and Human Services reported citrus red number 2, check this out, is used to color the skin of oranges. The FDA also asked food companies to remove red dye number 3 from the nation's food supply earlier than 2027, the Biden administration's first deadline. Drug companies got an additional year. Well, it will work with food companies to eliminate the remaining 6 artificial dyes by the end of next year, it says. For too long, some food producers have been feeding Americans petroleum based chemicals without our knowledge or consent, Kennedy said in the release. Kennedy has vowed to eliminate artificial dyes from the country's food supply, claiming they are responsible for behavioral problems in children, including hyperactivity, a link that the FDA says it is monitoring but hasn't been established. The dyes are commonly used in thousands of products marketed to kids, including candy, breakfast cereals, and soda, giving the products bright, vibrant hues. And if you don't believe it, go to your grocery store, your local grocery store, and look in the candy aisle, turn over the packaging, and read what types of dyes are in your children's candies and your food that you eat and drink. On Tuesday, HHS, the Human Health and Human Services, said the FDA would fast track the review of a number of natural dyes, including calcium phosphate, Galderia extract blue, gardenia blue, and FDA approved butterfly pea flower extract, which can range in shades from deep purple to bright blue. No representatives from the food companies spoke at the briefing. Asked whether the administration has reached an agreement with food companies to transition to natural dyes by the end of next year, Kennedy responded, "We have an understanding." In a previous interview, Marion Nestle, professor emeritus of nutrition, food studies, and public health at New York University, called the issue an easy one for Kennedy to address. While the FDA hasn't established a link, Nestle said there is some research that dyes might contribute to behavioral problems in kids. A 2021 report from the California Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, for example, reviewed 27 trials in children and concluded food dyes can interfere with normal behavior in at least some children. Nestle, who added that the dyes serve no purpose for food beyond cosmetics, noted that other countries have moved to either restrict or ban them. In those countries, she said, companies have introduced natural alternatives. This should have been done a long time ago, she said. They've been promising to get rid of these things for years and balking. They've gotten rid of them in Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand. There's no reason why we can't use something else. Manday said food dyes make ultra processed foods look more appealing. Of course they do. They add all these dyes, bright colors, and they result in overeating and obesity. Overweight is the primary food cause of cancer, he said in an email. Thus, we must regulate the use of both synthetic and natural colors, as well as flavors that allow food companies to transform powders and sludges into calorically dense, hyper-palatable, ultra-processed foods that are making us and our children sick.